Hello, everybody.
It always does that. It always scares me, like the call's gonna end.
Yeah, it's weird because it starts a little laggy
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts working just fine after like, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that.
Do you think you're gonna continue to go this route, or are you gonna give back that other shit, the call recorder thing?
Oh, this is
Fuck
good
them, right?
enough. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good enough. It's no big deal.
yeah.
Um, but anyway, yeah, so we just spoke about this on your channel, but I guess talk about it real quick too. What's going on in Iowa? So it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Oh God.
For lack
Are
of
we gonna
better
go?
words, yeah.
Are we gonna go through it all again? So here's what happened, guys. This is the first year that they're using an app, the Iowa Caucus, and
It just doesn't sound right. Yeah. I'll
and
let
the
you
whole
explain.
idea behind it, the whole idea behind it was like, oh, this is gonna help with more transparency. I don't know how they decided that, but they decided that. And what happened was the app crashed. And then apparently, allegedly, the backup to the app crashed. And so it was just complete and utter chaos. Then we come to find out that many of the people involved in the creation of the app are former Hillary Clinton staffers. Then we come to find out that Mayor Pete's campaign has donated over 40 grand to help build the app.
And some of them work on his campaign too.
Yes, and some of them work on his campaign too.
Like direct fucking like corruption. So like
Direct.
the
Absolutely.
ballot box is with a company of a person in the fucking thing. Like that doesn't work like that. It's like a referee being on staff for the Los Angeles Lakers while the Lakers are in the NBA Finals.
And then what happens? Well, yesterday they're like, "Oh, they couldn't report it. They couldn't get the information. They couldn't report it." What does Mayor Pete do? He goes out there and declares victory. He gives a speech like he won. He gives a speech like he won.
I texted you and I said, "What is this?" Pete, like Buttigieg just put out on to New Hampshire, victorious night or something like that, and I was like, "Did he win?"
And what he was trying to do, Core, and it semi-worked, is buy positive media.
Yeah.
Where now the media goes out there and says, Pete's victorious. What a great speech he gave. Totally viable candidate. Obviously moving forward, he's in a very strong position. So he got himself some positive media. And then, so none of the results came in. Or initially, it was weird, right? Because initially there was like 1.5% was reporting.
Oh, did they report a little?
Yeah, like 1.5%. And then they literally took it down. And then we woke up the next day, and I couldn't sleep well last night, but wake up the next day, and I'm going, I immediately go to Twitter. I know I'm going to find the results now. Nothing. Sweet Jesus, what's happening? So, anyway, come to find out, during the course of today, we slowly learn Bernie Sanders' team comes out, and they report, guys, don't worry. We have our own infrastructure. We recorded everything. So, in other words, they have their own records. Whatever the eventual official results are, they can compare it directly to what Bernie's team has.
Mm-hmm.
That's what. So I was like, oh, sigh of relief.
And I said this to you, but that made you feel at ease. But to me, it's almost just like, regardless of what he had written down on his paper, regardless as trustworthy of a guy he is, as truthful of a guy he is, they don't give a shit what he has written down. They're going to say what the fuck they say.
Yeah, but Core, the receipts make it so that you could have a real revolution. Like, whatever we do to try to fix it, everybody's going to be down to do it. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not up there. It's like, no, this will not stand because this is an injustice.
Yeah.
And if we know that as a matter of fact, then that's super important. So Bernie, they released their numbers. What do they say? They say 60% of the vote counted. We have a, quote, comfortable lead. And the specifics are about a 5-point lead with 60% of the vote counted. Now, in politics, when somebody says the lead is, quote, comfortable, here's what that means. I'll decode that for everybody. That means, very simply, moving forward, we're not going to lose. You don't lose with a comfortable lead. That means our lead is big enough where even if somebody else surges, it's not going to be enough to knock us off of that top spot. Mm-hmm. So now everybody's sitting there going, oh, that's all good, right? And that's really happy stuff, right? Here's what happens. The Iowa Democratic Party comes out in the middle of today, made us wait until like the afternoon. Not even. It was like the beginning of the evening. It was like 5 o'clock my time or some shit, 4 o'clock Iowa time.
Yep.
They come out. They say, we're not answering any questions. Nobody even bother to ask any questions. All the results are totally legit. We had a coding problem or whatever. And we have 62% of the vote, and they show it. Bernie Sanders is leading in the popular vote, but they show Mayor Pete leading for the delegate count, which is what matters.
Mad random.
Super sketchy. Because you got Bernie Sanders 60% vote tally. He has a, quote, comfortable lead, about a 5-point lead. With the official results, 62% counted. And, would you look at that? Bernie has a lead in the popular vote, but Mayor Pete has the delegate lead. So now what's happening? Media all day long. Mayor Pete surge, Mayor Pete victorious, Mayor Pete's out there declaring victory again, running in circles, going out there and, letting everybody know the campaign is taking off, this, and that, so on and so forth. So, listen, I said this to you before, and I really do believe it. I trust the internal Bernie numbers a lot more than I trust the official numbers. I just do.
I do. It makes me feel a lot better that at least they did that.
That's what I'm saying.
And not even doing anything where it's just like.
That's what I'm saying. If they didn't have that, I would be beyond miserable.
Yeah.
But now they have that, and we could always measure what the official results are with what the Bernie Sanders results are. Now, is it possible that the Iowa Democratic Party comes out and says, hey, by the way, Bernie Sanders, he won, when they finally released the total vote count? Not only is that possible, I actually think that's likely. I think that eventually, when they give the final results, they'll be like, yeah, Bernie won, and he won by about 4 or 5 points or whatever it is, and he won the delegate count too. I think that's possible, but
that should have got swept under the fucking rug.
OD, because we've already had 2 news cycles of Mayor Pete. How awesome is he, Mayor Pete? So, and the whole point of the Iowa caucus, because there's not that many delegates, the whole point is momentum. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to, even though Bernie looks like he's going to win, and if they're being honest, they'll say that, they've spent the entire time where they should have been talking about how amazing his campaign is, doing Mayor Pete's bidding.
Yeah, no. And I said to you, and everyone said on Twitter, it's just like 62% is such an arbitrary number. It just makes no fucking sense, where it's just like, we've waited so long to get the final results. Like, just make us wait a week or 2 weeks or until the New Hampshire shit to decide the winner. But give us give us the full percentage. Like, telling us a percentage of the winner does absolutely nothing. Like, it does absolutely nothing besides cause more controversy and make you guys look even dumber than you already do. Like, there's no gain in giving us such a, like, just a fraction of who won,
Oh,
like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Listen, this is either extreme incompetence or they're trying to fix the election. It's one or the other. There's literally no other possibility. It's either they're like the dumbest people on the planet and they're super incompetent at what they're doing and they can't even do an app right, or it's nefarious. But like I told you on your channel, I spoke to my tech expert friend, and he basically told me, no, you don't understand. Like, the mistakes they made are not even amateur mistakes. It is like, it's hard to conceive of mistakes as stupid as what they did. Like, for example, they didn't stress test it. You always stress test something like this. They didn't stress test it. They had it in a certain mode where it crashed after 200 people were on it. Like, what? What are you... Insane, Core. They didn't even have on. They had 2 password levels, and nobody knew the passwords, and they couldn't.
They had the
What?
free trial version. It's like playing Bejeweled or whatever on your fucking Bedazzled on your phone, and you get the swipe up, but that you got to X out of. Like, they didn't even pay for the fucking good version of it.
So my friend was telling me, like, you don't understand how amateurish these mistakes are, which leads me to lean more in the direction of nefarious. That it's
But
not.
It
It's
almost
not an
makes you think
oopsie.
that, like, because they were buddy with Hillary Clinton and Pete Buttigieg, it's like they try to do some shady shit, some shadowy shit to, like, maybe double Buttigieg votes or, like, put some coding in there to, like, give him a boost somewhere or something like that. And it fucked up the system where it caused an error. Like, the error was caused because they were trying to do some shady shit.
Listen,
is what I believe.
anything is possible. Anything is possible. And anybody who's telling you otherwise is so full of it they can't see straight. Because once we learn the facts of the Mayor Pete campaign helping to fund the app, the former Hillary people helping create the app, other former Hillary people involved in the investment, like, no, you don't get it. Like, once that happens, that's it. All bets are off. It is absolutely possible that something like you just described happened. It's absolutely possible that there's fuckery. I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Now, again, it's possible it's incompetence too, but it's one or the other, and I don't know. Honestly, at this point, the effect is the same. No matter what, the effect is the same. The effect being, let's pump out Mayor Pete relentlessly. Mm-hmm. And like we were just talking about with Bloomberg now too, they're trying to pump him up, and he's doubling his spending on ad money, and he's already spending over $200 million on ads because he sees an opening now. Yep. So the only good news is Biden is donezo. Biden is so irrelevant in this race that it's going to hurt him moving forward. And that's huge for Bernie, because really the race was down to Biden or Bernie. So
it's just frustrating, and it's also comical that, like, all the time they spent in these debates and leading up to it on how good Biden is and how well he's polling, all of that shit doesn't mean anything. And it makes me think back to when Bernie won Michigan, and it was like such a long shot that he was going to win, and he's polling terribly, and then he won. It's like, who are they fucking polling? Like, how often can you send out a weekly poll and get, like, the information that you need that's accurate? And if, like, you watch the coverage last night and people are flipping their minds on a dime like this because, like, Klobuchar supporter or whatever didn't, like, talk to her, so she changed her vote to someone else. It's like, if people are changing their vote that fast in Iowa, how accurate is a fucking week-to-week poll that, like, this stupid website is telling me?
Now, to be fair, the way a caucus works, if you don't hit the viability threshold, you have to go to another candidate.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little different in Iowa. But to your broader point, specifically the Michigan one the last time around, yeah, like, the polls really, really undervalued Sanders' support. The polls really, like, gauged it incorrectly. Why? Because they were polling likely voters, and the likely voters were all old people who didn't like Bernie.
Yeah, so and those are the old-ass people that will fill out a fucking survey if you come to my door. But I'm voting for Bernie. You come to my door, sorry, man, I got a baby I got to take care of.
Exactly.
Can't fill that shit out for you right now, dog.
And that gets into another point that we made on your channel, which is all the initial reports and all the stuff on social media, all the pictures, everything everybody was saying was turnout is gigantic. I've been waiting online for 5 hours with my kids. This is insane. The gymnasium is packed, yada, yada. And then the media reported at the end of the night, turnout was historically low.
Yeah.
So, like, come on, man. Like, what somebody's lying to me here. Somebody's lying to me. And that's not just a mistake. Somebody is flat out lying. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, but...
And it's frustrating that CNN can sit there and have all these pundits on there and say, like, don't say controversy, don't say conspiracy, don't start saying that stuff. When it's just like, how the fuck can you not say that stuff?
How can you not say that? Exactly, Core. How could you not say that? What are you going to say? Everything's going in normal? Then we'd already know the results now, wouldn't we, if everything was going normal? We wouldn't have an app. We had an app. An app. We've been doing elections for how long? Since the 1700s?
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna say we need to do an app by some asshole in Silicon Valley with Hillary Clinton connections and funded by Buttigieg. We got to do an app? God damn. And then thankfully Nevada was supposed to use this same thing, and then they dropped it.
Yeah, I don't. I said this, before. It's just like I don't want to know what went on behind the scenes stuff, who blew who to get this Shadow and whatever other app they used to be the app that they used, and how much money was paid to them, and how these guys are probably sitting on a beach somewhere tweeting out their responses of apologies when they're drinking margaritas and have millions of dollars in the bank. Like, there's no remorse, there's no repercussions. Like, nothing will happen to this company. I checked out their Twitter page. Luckily, I didn't give them a follow. So, like, anyone who's following them, take your follow away. Like, fuck this company. They shouldn't be able to do anything ever again. And like I said, anyone who works at this company, if they apply for another job, should automatically be rejected. Like, you can't fuck up that big. Like, that's something that is not, like, that's inexcusable. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, you can't get another job from fucking up this big. You can't go into an interview and say, yeah, I worked for Shadow. Oh yeah, we were the ones that fucked up the election. You're hired. Great job.
Like, yeah, I nobody even follows them. That's all fake. It's all fake followers that they have. Nobody's actually pro. The name of the company is Shadow. I can't get over that. They named the company Shadow, and another one involved in this was named Acronym. It's like if somebody wrote in a movie, the evil company that's trying to steal the election, connections to the former candidate, connections to a current corporate candidate. I mean, and
you don't think he got inside, like, tips, like why he put out that? My sister said it was a scheduled tweet that said that he was victorious. She said it was scheduled. Like, he already had that plan that he was going to tweet out that victorious onto New Hampshire shit. So, like, you're not going to tell me that someone in his campaign, I work at a company and I leave there and now I'm working for you or something like that. I still got friends over there. I still got people who helped build the app. Like, I still know the ins and outs of how things work. You're telling me someone didn't give him a little tip? Like, we're going to give you a little.
Corin, they scrapped that poll too recently. They scrapped that poll, remember?
Yep.
It was Mayor Pete who had it scrapped.
Yeah. Oh, did he?
Yes. So he gets that poll scrapped, okay? And then comes the election. He freaking declares victory early.
Yep.
Gives a speech, declares victory early. The media gives him nonstop credit.
And then sits silent about it when he leaves the coffee shop with that fucking smug look on his face. Like, yeah, I know what I'm up to. Like,
and then today in the update, it's a BS update where they have him up, even though Bernie's leading in terms of votes. It's all so sketchy, man.
The stories that are coming out about him, like, where, there's like black people behind him at a rally, and they're like, they asked me 4 different times to leave my friends to stand behind him. And it's just like, he's just like trying to do all this weird shit that's just not normal. It's not natural. It's not authentic. And it just goes to show how fake and phony the guy is.
I'll just say this, man. If we don't get the news that Bernie won,
yeah, it's still going to be a while, man. I think
it's already on, son. But I'm telling you, if they end up screwing him, there will be millions of people marching either on the DNC or marching on Washington. There is no negotiation anymore. We're done.
I agree with you.
Done.
Yeah, Mars said it, and Twitter says it. It's just, there's too big of an army. There's too many people that are aware of what's happening.
And we're all watching now,
yes,
bro.
Exactly.
We're all watching.
We're all watching. We're all aware. We're not fucking dumb anymore. We see an article that says, are the Iowa caucuses even important? And then 4 years earlier, it says, like, the most important caucus, is Iowa or something like that, by the same lady.
No, it was the other way around. She was saying the Iowa caucus was super important, and then when Bernie has the big lead, all of a sudden Iowa caucus doesn't matter.
People act like we don't see this shit, but now there's smart people. There's smart people in the fucking Bernie Sanders camp, or just like in the woke fucking like independent media camp, that know all these tricks and tactics and bullshit that you're spewing to us. So, like, I said it, like, I had to turn off CNN last night because I didn't want to give them my view. I didn't want, like, my TV on their station so they can fucking make money off of me.
Yeah.
And they were the winners last night. And low-key, they left their boardrooms last night. The executives, the producers, the people at the top left there and said, this was great. This was great. What a night. What a night. You know, they could give a shit if our political system was actually going in a good place. You know, like they could care less if we pick the right candidate. They don't give a fuck because they saw their views go up, 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 up. Whereas like you put out content, obviously you want it to do well, but you're putting out shit that's actually authentic, that you care about, that you know like is gonna make a difference. They just want their views to go up. They just want eyeballs on their fucking desperate channels that are floundering. So shit like this helps them out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They were the big winners last night, man. Buttigieg, CNN, MSNBC, all those motherfuckers. Rachel Maddow laughing and joking and like, fuck out of here, Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, I'm still floored by the fact that they didn't even hit us with like, oh, there will be another update at this time.
Yeah.
They just drop 62% and then dip, and then don't even tell us when they're gonna. Listen, it appears very clearly designed, like give Buttigieg the positive coverage.
Yeah.
And then if we come back and tell you Bernie won, we'll just drop that and we're out, and the media will move on past that quickly. Oh, Iowa's old news. We're on to New Hampshire. We're on to New Hampshire. We're on to New Hampshire. So praise nonstop Pete, and then when you hear about Bernie, anyway, that's old news. We already gave Pete the credit. Moving on.
Yep.
He overperformed in the polls, and that's the end of the conversation. Oh, my God.
No backlash, no blowback for putting out a tweet saying he won. No negative news. And, like, it's the old saying is, like, I think it's any coverage. What's the saying? Like, any coverage is good coverage or bad coverage is good.
Yeah, any coverage is good coverage, yeah.
How much coverage has Pete Buttigieg gotten from this? And it's just, like, he's been propped up. And I asked you this on my channel. It's just, like, do people pay attention to this? Do they care? Do they look at this and they're like, "Wow, this guy's all over my TV. He must be doing well."
I mean, as a general rule, no. But if it's like super relentless, I mean, look at Bloomberg. Look at what happened with Bloomberg. He bought his way. He bought like 10% support in the polls just from the ads because he's always there. Boom, 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 boom. So with Pete, I mean, you know, to me, he's deeply unlikable.
Yeah.
And on top of his ideology being trash, but if he's continually pushed out there as a winner, then his name recognition goes up, and when your name recognition goes up, you do get a bump in terms of support and in terms of how many people will vote for you.
But you said if there's any silver lining in this, hopefully this could be a good thing for Bernie Sanders that they're propping up Buttigieg.
Well, the ideal situation is Bernie Sanders wins, second place is Mayor Pete, then you have Warren after that, then you have, it would be better if it's Klobuchar Biden, but Biden Klobuchar is fine too, and that's what it looks like it is right now. But yeah, the reason why that's good is the race nationally is down to Biden versus Bernie, and with Biden like really doing terrible, he's losing viability moving forward, so that he has no firewall on Super Tuesday. And Bernie's going to have all the momentum. If he wins Iowa, wins New Hampshire, wins Nevada, I mean, that's serious momentum. So we'll see. But that's the thing is they're trying, even if Bernie wins Iowa, they're trying to rob him of the momentum by not, like the story right now is not Bernie winning. The story is they're pretending like Buttigieg won and the whole caucus is messed up. And even if they say at some point, Bernie won, they'll be like, yeah, but the caucus was messed up, so it doesn't count. They'll have all, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll have all these things.
Yep.
And I told you, I trust the Bernie internal numbers more than the official numbers. So technically, I should sleep easy tonight. But like you said, they could just be like, yeah, Buttigieg won.
That's what I'm saying, man.
And then it's like, oh, okay, when do we hit the streets? I don't know. That's a question for later on. I mean, do we wait till the convention? Do we wait all the way till the convention? Because if he has a plurality at the convention on the first ballot, it's already guaranteed that we're staying there and we're going to not take no for an answer. If he has 30% of the vote and the closest competitor to him has like 22% of the vote, and they try to say, yeah, but it's not a majority. Are you kidding me? We will not let anybody else but him be the nominee. Full stop. Full stop.
And the guy, Tom Perez, is it, who's the head of the DNC? He hasn't done shit or said shit really anything either, right?
He was responsible for helping to build this freaking app infrastructure, man. He's part of the problem.
there's
He's
so
part of
much
the problem.
fucking corruption and money and like just shady shit going on of people getting paid off. That is frustrating. And to your point, it's Bernie's trying to get rid of all these people. And like this shit wouldn't be happening if Bernie was president, you know, like so people wouldn't be getting paid off. And so like I said, I don't even want to know what the CEOs and people who created this shadow app are doing right now, because they've already got their money, and it's just like it'll be forgotten in a week or two. But like legit, this can't happen in a U.S. election. Like this, a fuck up this big can't happen in a U.S. election. Like
I mean,
I said it to you. It's just like, granted, Iowa's a weird fucking case with their caucus and all this stuff, but like you can't have someone deciding this shit with a coin fucking toss, wearing a pin of someone they support. You gotta be indifferent. You gotta have some random fucking Joe Schmo. Like bring someone in from Brazil or some shit to flip the coin.
The fact that they stole it in 2016 and the DNC was just an arm of the Hillary campaign.
Yep.
It led people to believe that, well, obviously this year they can't fuck around because we caught them OD last year.
Yeah.
But based off this first thing, looks like nothing changed, bro. So, again, we can't let it happen. And when the time comes, we will act. So stay tuned for that. But I do think that the likely scenario core is that whenever I don't know when they'll announce it, but when they do announce it, they will say Bernie won. That's what I think, because that's what Bernie's internal numbers show. And I think that they're correct. And I think it'd be really brazen if they try to say that he didn't win. So
even if they announce it, like, I mean, like, it's been 2 days now.
I know.
Are people working around the clock? Like,
I know. I agree with that point completely. They're still robbing him of what he should be getting for the victory. I totally agree with that. But point is, I think that ultimately the record will reflect that. And it's just annoying that we had all this stuff trying to derail him. But we just got to work harder, guys. We just got to work harder. We just got to get more involved. We got to make phone calls. We got to knock on doors. We got to do text messages.
Donate.
We got to overwin in order to win. That's the point. We got to win by, crushing margins. So it's unriggable. It's so big. They can't, even if they put their finger on the scale, they're like, we can't put it on enough. Yeah. It's got to be one of those situations.
Yeah. I raised the question to you, and I thought it was interesting. It's just like, people would always say that the RNC was super corrupt. But then it's just like, I started to almost think that the DNC is more corrupt than them.
Well, yeah, I told you, I think that the RNC is probably just as corrupt, but they're more competent at hiding it right now.
Yeah.
Because you do have a unique band of idiots at the Democratic National.
It's like, they're trying to rob a bank, but like doing it without mask. They're doing it with, guns
idiots.
They're
idiots and they're nefarious. It's both things. Whereas with the Republicans right now, I'm sure they're idiots in other ways, but when it comes to like hiding their fuckery, they appear to do a good job at it. But also Trump, who they viewed as an existential threat to them, also just wasn't an existential threat to them, because ultimately he's doing their bidding as president.
Yeah.
Whereas Bernie would actually threaten those interests because they're all corrupt sellouts bought by corporations, and he'd fire them all. So they know that he's an existential threat to them. So it's almost like that's an even bigger threat than the RNC thought Trump was to them.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, it's a great point. I'm still just so fucking confused, flabbergasted by this whole fucking thing, man, because it was a frustrating day.
Everybody's feeling like that. I think everybody's feeling like that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I don't want to keep talking about this, but when they released Oh, you just froze.
Yeah, I got you now. When they released something.
Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter. I think everybody heard it and you didn't hear it, but it's okay.
Okay, good. No, it's frustrating that they released any fucking partial number because it just doesn't help any cause. Release 100% of the fucking numbers.
I was saying you should have seen my face when they said Buttigieg is leading in the delegate count. I was like, my face was like, oh, so you guys might actually try to jack this thing.
Yep.
Because that was right after the Bernie campaign released their numbers and showed them, quote, comfortably leading. So I was like, oh, are they going to do this? Are they going to do this? So
yeah, it didn't surprise me.
sketchy.
I saw someone tweet. It was just like one campaign is pretty upset that the Iowa Democratic whatever is going to release a partial number because it doesn't show in their favor. And like he should have just put Sanders.
Yeah, because they have their own internal numbers and they know how well they're doing, and they know that this could be an attempt to try to steer the frickin' media conversation.
Yeah.
So they should be pissed. They should be pissed.
They need people still, like, when the Kristen Bell or whatever her name is and Anna go on CNN, like, fucking call a spade, man. Say this shit is corrupt. Like, you got to be fucking loud because no one else is doing it on fucking those television stations.
By the way, I love how it's late here. I've been up since mad early. I'm sure you have too, right?
Yeah.
And so I already noticed, like, as I'm talking, my brain wants me to say something, but my mouth is like not complying. I'm like, I got a thought right there, and I'm like, get it out, and then it's like trying to get out, but it's not really doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I did that on my fucking live stream. I was with Molly, and I was like, do you want to just go live? Like, we can talk about the pregnancy or whatever. And like, it was dumb late at night. And we were just talking, and I was saying shit, but like it was just diarrhea. Like people were writing on the thing, like, "Yo, say it, get it out. You got it, Goran. Finish your set."
I've been with you like that before when you're tired, and it is true. Like you'll just start saying something and it'll make no sense, and I'll just be like, "What the?"
I have a vivid memory of laying on your couch. Pause. You were on a different couch, and we were watching like NBA TV or some shit, and it was mad late because I was back in New York. And I think I was falling asleep, like talking about the Trailblazers game or something, but I was just rambling about nothing.
That might have been exactly what I'm thinking of. I think
I was probably saying shit like, yeah, you know, Scottie Pippen was once on the Trailblazers, right?
Something like that. Or I felt like maybe you were even like discussing like a dream shit at some point.
Maybe. I could have been partially dreaming. I don't know what it is.
That's what I'm saying is like there was something you threw in there that I was just like, that doesn't fit with what we were saying. And I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Do you ever do that on air? I mean, like, I feel like you're locked in and loaded.
No, because on air, I'm caffeined up and shit. Like, I'm ready to go. And the time of the show makes it so that it's all good, you know?
It's hard, man. I remember when we first went out to Rogan's thing, you were like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about for like 3 hours or something like that. But like you figure things out and like conversations, you know, get moving.
Yeah. The first time I did feel like that because I was more nervous the first time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was so easy because he might say he doesn't come prepared, but he's prepared.
Yeah.
He's got a couple things. He's got at least like 4 or 5 things in the holster. And sometimes he gets to none of those things, but sometimes he'll get to all of them if there's like a weird pause, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so we haven't had a Kyle and Corin since the terrible day.
Oh, since Kobe. Yeah, it was fucking rough, man. That was really, really, really rough, and it's still rough. Yeah, it's.
You know, I was gonna say I'm actually really surprised at how quickly something becomes normal.
Yeah.
Like I'm at the point now where when you say the words, I'm just like, that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for the first 4 days, it didn't, like, it wasn't, I was like, no, that didn't happen. It just didn't feel like it happened.
Yeah,
now,
you're right.
when you say it, I'm just like, that did kind of happen.
And he's no longer with us. Yeah, like.
And I'm upset at how much now it's not a shock to the conscience. Whereas before it was a total shock to the conscience.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's tough. Like when it first happened.
Oh, forget it.
It was such a surreal time for me because
I told you. I was the one who told you.
Yeah. And I immediately went to TMZ. I was in the midst of my fucking new daughter being born. So like while all this was happening, while like we were learning about Kobe passing away and the other
By the way, you never told me that. I thought I had assumed based on the timeline that I had got to you before she was in labor.
No, yeah, you did.
Oh,
you did.
Okay.
Yeah. But like more details started to come out and like I knew Molly was getting induced, so like she was gonna have the baby the next day. So we were in the hospital when stuff was getting released, and you found out that his daughter and all these other young girls were on the flight. So like finding that stuff out while seeing like knowing that a new baby was gonna come into this world, a young girl no less, like the whole story was just so hard to fucking wrap my brain around, man, because it's like you don't want to hear you don't want to hear that like his daughter was going to a basketball game, like he was her basketball coach with other basketball players. Like in a weird way, you want to hear that like he was going to Vegas to like do some shady shit or something, so you can have a little bit of thought like, oh, all right, he was a little fucked up. But like the story was just so terrible to hear. Everything was like in line with the guy that Kobe was becoming,
Every aspect of it, we just ripped our hearts out and stomped on it. It's literally traveling with his daughter and with like another assistant coach and the other families and other kids. And like I'm sure he was like excited, and she was probably so excited to go play in the game. He was excited to like coach at the game. Yeah. They were going to a tournament. Like he was ready to trademark Mambacita.
Yeah.
Like
it just, and it also hit home or close to home because it's just like, one, we all felt like we knew him, but the fact that LeBron passed him in the scoring record the night before.
Corin, my last tweet before I went to bed the night before was to Kobe, and then I woke up the next day. I didn't tweet at all, and my very next tweet was, "Oh my God, tell me the story's please not true."
Yeah, he was our. You said it great, man, and I actually missed the delivery of my daughter because Molly was gonna get an epidural for her pregnancy. So at my hospital, they make you leave the room for about 15 minutes. And they told her she had to be at a 10 to deliver the baby. She was only at a 4 or something like that. So I was with her the whole time. She said, just go downstairs to the cafeteria, get some food, come back in 15 minutes. And last time when we had our daughter, Nix, it was like another 2 hours before the baby was even born. So I go downstairs at 4:50. I'm sitting down, I'm eating, and I'm watching the Kobe Bryant video that you had put out, which was great. 10 minutes later, I'm walking back up, and the nurse meets me in the hallway and goes, Corin, your wife just gave birth to the baby 10 minutes ago. So I fucking sprinted up to the room. Baby's already delivered. So the point of my story, which I don't even remember which
you were watching my video.
I was watching your video when it happened, but like
the Jordan thing. I said he's our Jordan.
That's what I was saying.
Say. Yeah,
he like you said it so perfectly. Because I remember watching Jordan in like the '98 finals against the Jazz.
But that's all we got.
That's all I had. Like
that's it.
Everything else is highlights of him shooting the shot at the free throw line and his slam dunk competition in '88. Like that's all just from ESPN. Kobe was our Kobe.
We saw the whole shit. We saw the whole shit. We saw the whole shit.
Conversations in school, jerseys that
I remember. I remember where I was. We spoke about the 81-point game.
Yeah.
It was in Mr. Bond's class.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even remember that.
I remember it. And that's the thing. So I remember the Shaq run, Kobe and Shaq run. They were invincible. Then I really, when they won in 2009 and 2010, I was like, yo.
Because he did it without Shaq.
And I was like, Kobe is never, like, he's that good where he could just keep winning. Because you won all the way back in 2000. You had a run in 2000. Now you won in 2009, 2010 without Shaq.
Yeah.
And then the whole situation in 2013, which I saw a video on YouTube recently that made me cry. In 2013, people don't know that's the most underrated Kobe Bryant season of all time because it was supposed to be with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, and it was supposed to be they were going to be an amazing super team. Dwight Howard and Steve Nash both got hurt. The rest of the team is bunskies.
Yep.
And then Kobe
Bryant maybe
puts the whole fucking squad on his back. Literally, he said there was a moment in the season where it was D'Antoni was the coach at the time. And him and D'Antoni realized the only way we're going to win is if you take like every single shot, Kobe. And so here's he was old at the time, in his mid-30s, and he was playing the entire game, every game, chucking up shots, and they started winning. And there was one point, because of injury and all that, where they were 8 games under 500. Kobe put the team on his back, promised when they were 8 games under 500, we're going to make the playoffs. Took them to the playoffs, got them above 500, got them in the playoffs, and then with the Herculean effort, tore his Achilles with his team on his back, made the free throws with the torn Achilles, and then left. And then obviously after that,
Like, you don't see this shit, man. And I still remember his press conference in the locker room when that happened, was sitting down, still in his uniform, just tearing up. Like, because he had known how much work he put in and how much he had done to carry the team. And
you remember what he said, though? He's like, I'm going to be back.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, I think in a weird way, like, I think you had a little bit more of a connection to him than I did, just because for this right here, I think you have like a little or a lot of that Mamba mentality, like, in you with you do with your show, and how driven you are towards something that, like, you see as like a goal of yours. Like, to shit on myself, I don't ever have that. Like, when I do anything, like, I'll play Hold'em and I'll enjoy it. Texas Hold'em, for people that don't know. And I'll lose or win. But I think with you, like, if you go into a tournament, you're like, I'm going to take this shit down. You have the same DNA that he has, which a lot of people don't have, man. And that's why a lot of people aren't as successful as, like, you or Kobe Bryant or other people, because it's like, you got to have that DNA. And I think, that's why it hurt you. I mean, it hurt me just because I'm a big basketball fan, but the same shit with Tiger Woods. Like, but like, I think a lot of people don't have the traits that he had, man. And like, it was tough. It was tough.
I think you're being a little too kind to me. I do think that in narrow ways I get obsessive, and I can, like, as a result of the obsession, yes, I get an idea in my head, and it's just like, oh, I'm going to do this.
Yep.
And then I don't stop doing that. That's kind of what you're talking about. Yes, I have that for
a lot of people don't have that, man.
For certain things, though, I have it, but I also have the opposite too, which you and I talked about, which is I have a healthy streak of fuck it in me. I have a healthy streak of, like, I'm just not super lazy. I don't want to leave the couch. I'm going to watch TV all day.
But that super fuck it is almost that Mamba mentality that, like, you're so committed to that.
No. See, that's flipping it on its head. Because, and I said this in the segment on Kobe that I did. I was like, I think looking at a guy like Kobe, where he didn't give himself the option. Every day he got up and he's like, no, I'm dedicated to this and I'm going to do it. And he was excited every time.
Yeah.
For me, I'll have that mentality when I'm excited about the thing and I like the thing. But if I lose that excitement, then my pendulum goes all the way in the other direction. And there's nothing, like, then I'm the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the reasons why I really loved him was because I saw that he's a totally different breed that I'm unfamiliar with. His breed is, and Rogan talks about this too all the time, his breed is, like, if he wakes up and it's a gross rainy day outside and he's like, I could just take one day off of jogging, I don't want to jog. Kobe's the type of dude to be like,
I'm jogging more.
Exactly. Not only am I going to jog, I'm going to jog more and I'm going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
So he could just flip that, like, whatever the thing is that's like, don't do it. He could just brush that off in no time and just go on with it. Whereas me, no, there's many times where I fully give in to the, fuck it.
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit of both, but the fact that it's possible for somebody to be as committed as he is and have none of the fuck it in him, that's, I think, what attracted me to him massively. But also, I mean, listen, he seems superhuman. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, he seems superhuman. So when you see somebody like that can go in such a terrible way, it's almost like you start thinking, like, well, what freaking hope is there for the rest of us? Like, all of us regular mortals. And here's this guy who was a freaking demigod, and he went in this terrible way. That means all things are on the table for guys like us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It just, it just goes to show that, like, I mean, people have said it, just life is so fucking precious. And it's like, I try to reason for eating all my Chinese and White Castle and all that shit, and I use it as a cop out. But like, you'd never know when your fucking last day is. So like, you really got to just try and enjoy shit as much as you can. You know, like if you're a fucking vegan or some shit and you really want to try a hamburger, fucking try a hamburger. Or like
Yeah.
just do I don't know, just do shit, you know, like tell some fucking girl you love her or something. Like it was emotional, man. Like I was crying a lot
I
and I
teared
saw
up a
people
lot that week, man. I teared
writing to
up.
you like, you know, they hadn't seen you cry like that even when you spoke about your father or something like that, you know, like
Well, my dad died in 2011. That's a
yeah.
long time ago. And so it's at the point now where, you bring it up and it's almost talking about what happened with him and the healthcare issue that's tied into that. It's almost intellectualized to an extent
Yeah.
where I'm able to be a little disconnected from it. The Kobe thing just happened. I was
I
on
know.
air like 2 days later. And, and the thing for me, I was tearing up at random times. And that made me feel even more weird. Like
Yeah.
I would be sitting there, like I turned on the Knick game, which happened like on that day. And then it hit me at one point that like this is the first basketball game I'm ever watching in my life where Kobe's not on this planet.
Yeah.
And then I had that thing where like, because they played his last game on ESPN, and it was so like crispy HD that I was like, this shit looks like it could be happening live right now.
Yeah. I
That made
know.
me tear up.
The stories from
I would just
people, I
start.
mean,
I'd just be sitting there doing work, and I'd start tearing up.
yeah, Shaq, Jerry West, their stories
Oh,
when they
that
sat
made
on
me
the
tear
Staples
up.
Center.
The Shaq thing. Yeah, the freaking thing that they did, the tribute that they did with LeBron talking and everything. Oh my God. So
It
now,
was
just so
yeah.
everybody knows, me and Corn are huge Knicks fans, but I want the Lakers to win this championship this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's hard not to root for them, man, because it's just like the whole organization. I mean, like his wife and their family, like, you know, they like I just read a story that they requested like all of the items that were outside of Staples Center because they had to clear it away. Like she wants a majority of those items. So like they're documenting everything that's out there, like artwork, basketballs. They're putting it in containers and they're gonna ship a lot of the stuff to her. Um, it's wild, man. Like you don't realize the impact someone has on you until they're not here anymore, you
I
know?
don't think he knew. I don't even think he knew. He had no idea that it was going to be like this.
No. I
There's
mean,
no
other
way he knew
countries, but like,
because he said it before too. He said because he was used to being booed a lot.
yeah,
Because for most of his career, at least half of his career, he would be out there and, there'd be the chance of like Kobe sucks because everybody thought he was super arrogant and super selfish. But then what happened was as he got older, I think people started to recognize that
his
he's
greatness.
he's so unique
Yeah,
in how dedicated he is to his craft and how one-minded he is in wanting to have success in his craft that the things he was able to do, that's not a thing like you're witnessing greatness. That's not a thing that you're going
yeah,
to see a lot.
yeah,
There's not another Kobe Bryant out there. You
yeah,
could have a conversation about Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. That's pretty much it. You tap out right there. You could bring in the old, Kareem from back in the day and Wilt and whatnot, but it's the elite of the elite of the elite, and people realize, towards the end of his career, like, oh, this is special,
yeah.
and I should soak this in, and I should be happy I get to witness it.
Yeah, I was at his last game at Madison Square
At
Garden that he
MSG.
played. Uh, it was the Knicks actually won the game, but like Kobe chants from everybody. Even like random games, it would be like the Magic versus the Knicks. You'd see a Kobe jersey. Like everybody knew Kobe. And Mike Breen, the announcer for the Knicks, had a story when he was at the Olympics in Beijing or something, and the driver asked him like, "Hey, oh NBA, NBA." He saw a shirt he was wearing. He was like, "Do you know Kobe Bryant?" He was like, "Yeah, I know him." The guy pulled over and started crying just because he knew him, which is just fucking crazy, man. And like, it's nuts. And not to bring it back to you, but like you have that impact too. People fucking send me messages like, "Hey man, you're friends with Kyle. Like, you don't realize that he taught me blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "All right, go fuck yourself."
I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that.
Well, people say that shit at Politicon, but like, you know what's fucked up on the other spectrum, another side of it? It stinks when someone has like with the whole Rush Limbaugh news or whatever, how he got like the cancer, and now people will automatically sort of forget all the fucked up shit that he's said because he has,
Yeah.
like he just got did he get a medal or some shit?
He did. He got the Congressional Medal of Freedom, which is not okay.
That's
to
what I'm
give
saying.
him
It's
that.
just like, Alex Trebek came out with whatever pancreatic cancer, and everybody was, he's a great guy, it seems like. But like Rush Limbaugh, you got to separate the two. Like, I feel bad that he has this disease, and no one should ever have this shit. There should be a cure. But he's also still a fucked up guy.
Yeah, I agree completely, and that was annoying me too. Is the only reason Trump was even able to give him this Congressional Medal of Freedom is because he was diagnosed with lung cancer. He has advanced lung cancer, he said. So he's got to do treatment and whatnot. And, I think the criticism would have been so thorough and so over the top that if Trump gave it to him and he didn't have lung cancer, that it would even be too much where Trump wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have wasted political capital on that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he also has lung cancer now makes it so that nobody's going to really, what are they going to do? Try to do a lobby campaign against him getting it at the moment?
Exactly.
Because then people are going to flip that on them and be like, he has cancer. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So it's really messed up. But I tweeted about this earlier and I said, he's been wrong about everything he said for decades. And that's not an exaggeration. Like, I've covered so much of his stuff on my show, especially back in the day. Like, everything he says is wrong. So you can't give a guy like that a medal. I 100% hope he gets better from his cancer. I don't want anybody dying. I'm anti-cancer. I'm on the record as not liking cancer. But you can't give him a medal. Here, I just pulled up. I typed in secular talk Rush Limbaugh. I'll just give some titles. Rush Limbaugh blames the left for the New Zealand mosque massacre.
Oh. Just right there is full stop. Like, you should,
I know, exactly, right?
Fucking guy is.
Rush Limbaugh blows up on Fox News for not supporting Trump harder.
Oh. It's
Rush Limbaugh warns of lesbian farmer invasion.
Oh, man.
There's one recently where he says, he's a hurricane truther. Rush Limbaugh, hurricane warnings are a hoax. There's a Republican 2 years ago, 3 years ago, who assaulted a journalist, and it was like all on audio. You could hear it all. And he said that the Republican who did that is, quote, manly and studly. So he wouldn't even condemn, like, beating the ass of a journalist.
Oh. Low-key, though, I do get a little mad at sometimes. In Illinois here, there's like a tornado loud-ass sound that goes off all the time, and there's never a tornado. And I'm like, why the fuck does that shit have to go off all the time?
I have no answer, but...
And also the TV, when the sound check at like 2 a.m. when you're watching.
Yeah, that thing is so obnoxious. That thing has woken me up a few times.
It's OD. It's like the random testing at 2 a.m. that fucking is just loud as fuck. Just like...
It's the worst thing in the world.
And
it's
it's
the
like some
worst thing in the world.
low-ass voice like, this is a test of the EMS system.
It's so
checking.
scary. It feels like it's some post-apocalyptic thing.
That shit should not be happening in this day and age. Like, what are you even testing for? That my TV's getting fucking hacked or some shit?
Nuclear attack. Some shit. I don't know. But just a couple more Limbaugh ones because I just pulled them up. Rush Limbaugh thinks he debunks the Big Bang by saying, "Could you see it?"
Oh, my gosh. Which
is hilarious. He said that there was this anti-Ilhan Omar chant at a rally where they said, "Send her back, send her back."
Yeah.
And he was like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's innocent and fun. It's unbelievable. Like, the stuff he said is ridiculous.
That's how so many fucking right-wing pundits became successful, is just by lying and by being outlandish and saying crazy shit that people tuned in and gravitated to them because they just fucking said this ridiculous shit,
I mean, that's the thing that's so frustrating. You will hear a lot about, oh my God, he's a bigot and he's a hate preacher. Like, yeah, that's true. But also, let's not forget, he's wrong about everything. Like, it's not just that he's like a bad person. It's also that he's been preaching shit like one of the leaders pushing for the Iraq war, endlessly pushing for the Iraq war. So he's a giant war hawk. Pushing for Wall Street deregulation, which led to the market crash in 2008, and he still to this day argues for that. Like, he's just wrong about everything. So it's just so obnoxious.
These people don't realize that, like, the shit they say, actually, like, people take that shit and fucking repeat it to their friends, and they talk about it, and, like, that's how misinformation gets out there.
It's infuriating that Rush Limbaugh is one of these people who has, like, tricked working class Americans that, like, he and the Republican Party are in favor of helping them, when he actually has the agenda that helps billionaires and screws over these people. You know?
And that's when dumb fucks will regurgitate what he says, and you get a fucking Trump propped up. Like, I said this in my chat with Justin, and I was like, when did you get into politics, and when did you start, like, getting knowledgeable about shit? And he was just like, I started listening to, like, people on, like, independent media, like Kyle and, like, all, you know, TYT and shit like that. And I said to him, I was like, I sound smart in my conversations because I'll take shit Kyle says on his show, and it's like, it's all accurate. It's all shit that is, you could fact check it and it makes sense. The shit they say, they never fact check it and look it up and, you know, hear how dumb the shit they're saying actually is.
And they're shameless core. I don't think they care.
Yes.
You know, like, even though they're wrong, like, they don't care that even if you point it out, they're just like, whatever. Because to them, telling little lies is okay in service of a bigger truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, that's great. The way they look at it, which is not okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's wrap it up because it's late and you and I have both had long days. Hopefully, we get the results soon.
I got to give two shout outs real quick.
Go for it.
Jackson to Misto. That's the kid who DM'd me. He's got no Twitter photo. And he asked if he can ask me like 5 questions for he goes to Utah State. He asked me, he was actually mad cool freshman there. He's super humble. And he's just like, he had to do a report. He wanted to interview you. I think he said message something like that, but
yeah, good luck trying to get to me.
And then George Harden II. He's always commenting on my tweets and stuff like that. So I think he said his birthday was tomorrow. So happy birthday, my dude.
Holla to all you wonderful people out there. All right, guys. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.